We know what they did last year. We know that they were getting close to setting playoff records in 2 games. They were on an absolute tear. This season, they've been up and down. We haven't seen as much consistent, really good pass rush, just blowing up games for a few different reasons. I think the Rams' playoffs pass rush will be back. They will wake back up, and they will get 5 sacks this weekend.
Ooh. Let me talk this out. So you got Bryce Young. It's the first playoff game ever. That's a toughie. I'm going to say that's not an over Rams action. I do think the Rams defensive line is the best football that's ahead of them that's coming up. I think this is the game. We see Jared Verse, fulfill his promise from last year. And yeah, I don't think that's an over Rams action.
Jared Verse celebration from last year. Yeah, this is Rams Showcase says feels real. I've been saying 6. Yep. And for those of you who don't know, the Rams actually got 6 sacks last week against the Cardinals. I think 5 sacks is real. The funny thing is anytime we do a topic like this, we usually get lower. But I think playoff football is going to be different. I think this is when the pass rush is going to wake up. I don't think that they've been slacking and just not really trying. I feel like it's a lazy take. But I really do think playoffs last year is when they woke up. They have been waking up the last 2 games, both against the Falcons and the Cardinals. I think there's just a different intensity. Couple that with a young quarterback who has never been in a playoff game before. If the Rams offense gets rolling like I think they will early on, that's just going to tee up some scenarios for the Rams to be able to get some good pass rush. And the only way you can do that is if you stop the run on early downs. So I'm going to continue to say it. If they can stop the run, I think this is completely real. And I love to see it. I love to be wrong in the way if the Rams get more than 5 sacks. That's where I'd be. But I feel confident about it. I really do think Rams playoff pass rush is different, but it starts with stopping the run first. We got to do that, earn the right to rush the passer, obviously. So number 2, thanks everybody who helped on that one. We talked about it earlier. There are a lot of familiar players, a lot of familiar coaches that came from the Rams, even very recently, that are on the Panthers now. So yes, you can find ways to expose them, whatnot, but there's also ways that they're going to be wanting to prove it in this game. I'm saying the Panthers' familiarity with the Rams will prove to be a problem for LA. And you can take this in a number of different ways. You could say it could lead to a loss, or you could just say it's going to make things a whole lot harder. And the rest of the playoff games, if the Rams win this one, will look different because there's not as much familiarity on both sides. Is this a real take? Is this a hot take? Where do you lay with this one?
I'm gonna say that's an over Rams action. I'm tempted to say it's not a hot take just because of Evero, but I think that playoff football is so different, right?
Yeah.
I don't think their Panthers familiarity with the Rams is it's not like a liability to them. But I wouldn't say helps. I'm not gonna say it'd be a problem. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think it's one of those things where there's actually a lot more familiarity between teams of the Rams and other teams just throughout. Just watch Sheriff Joe Bag's podcast or listen to his podcast, and you'll hear how many different players that are on the teams we're going to play. Yeah. So I think it's more so the thing I'd be more so concerned about is the coaching of Canales knowing us, but Ejiro Evero being in so many practices against this kind of offense.
Yeah.
But I mean, McVay evolves. He gets better. His offenses get better. It's going to look different in the playoffs. So I think maybe it throws a wrench in a few things. Maybe certain plays that would work against other teams later on in the playoffs wouldn't work because, you have a coach on the other side that kind of knows what you're going to do. But I don't think it's going to completely hinder the Rams, and that's kind of where I'm at. But seeing a lot of Panthers fans thinking that's going to dramatically change this game.
Yep.
Sheriff Joe Bag says, over Rams action, their inexperience in the playoffs will prove to be a problem for Carolina. I'm with you there. I do think experience is a big thing in this game for sure. I'm sure that there's going to be some Panthers fans that are like, this is not an over Rams action. This is going to help us. But I don't think it's going to do a ton for them. That's kind of where I'm at, especially with it being a playoff game. If it was just a normal part of the season, maybe so. But number 3 here, Davante Adams is coming back. If you guys don't know that, he's going to be playing here. We have been waiting. This offense has looked different without Davante Adams. I'm saying it's going to look different again. I can say Davante Adams alone will score more points than the Carolina Panthers will this game.
Okay, that
Is it?
No, okay, wait. I was about to say it was, but I held my tongue because
he's a red zone magnet.
He had a 2 touchdown performance against them week 13.
Yes, he did. He did. It might have even been a hat trick, was it? Or was it just 2?
I thought it was 2. He had 3 against Jacksonville. Okay. Yeah.
While you're thinking, Ram Showcase says, ooh, no, I actually like it. I have him scoring twice, and I have them scoring 10. So it all kind of depends on where your score prediction lies and how you think the teams are going to score. But I don't know. Davante Adams, I think he's going to come alive in these playoffs. I think he really is. He wants that Super Bowl. Now, am I fully confident saying he's going to do this? I don't know if I'd fully go there.
Yeah.
But if he has a multi-touchdown game, maybe he has his first 3 touchdown game as a Ram. I don't know. And they're going to know to scheme around him. So maybe that debunks this. But
I think for me, it's an over Rams action just because I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. But okay. I don't think it's impossible. That's close to being a not overreaction, but I think it is an over Rams action just because of the weather. And I personally think it's going to be a lower scoring game.
That's fair. Yeah, I think if I had to put like a definite on this one, I would probably say you can't say, yeah, definitely that's going to happen. Like that's a hard feat to do. And something we haven't talked about, like we're talking about all the players that are coming back for us. Last time the Rams played the Panthers, they didn't have Trayvon Moehrig, who's a big guy at safety for them. They also didn't have J.C. Horn to be able to cover Davante Adams. And I'm pretty confident that the Panthers are going to have J.C. Horn lined up on Adams for most of this game. Yeah. So the more and more I talk this out, I'm like, maybe this is more of an over Rams action, but it was worth a shot here. Some playoff time. We got another positive one here. I've talked about how well the Rams ran on the Panthers the first time out and how they kind of went away from it. I think that the Rams are going to attack this again in the playoffs. At least that's my hope. I'm going to say the Rams are going to rush for over 200 yards against the Panthers this game.
Ooh, that's not an over Rams. Pardon me. That's not an over Rams action. I got tongue tied. That's how.
You're excited.
Yeah, no, and mainly because I think this is going to be a run heavy game.
Yeah,
I
think so too.
I don't think that's an over Rams action at all.
Okay, I like it. Ram Showcase, though, says that's tough. I think we float right around there, right around 200 yards. We have seen the Rams do this multiple times this season, over 200 yards rushing. I think they could do it again. If the Panthers don't make those adjustments from that first matchup, they certainly can do it again, especially if it gets into a rainy scenario. The only way the Rams don't rush for this many yards is if they turn over the football too many times or if they just straight go away from the run game. I just don't think the Panthers have shown you enough to show that they can stop the run game. And they have an opportunity to do that, but based on what we've seen, I feel pretty confident in it. So the Rams run defense, we know it's been a while since we've had to talk about a bad run defense because last year that was the big storyline in the playoffs. The Rams lost because they didn't have a run defense. That's the reason they lost to the Eagles. We heard it all. And they brought in Nate Landman. They brought in Poona Ford to be able to stop the run. The Rams' run defense was likely the reason that they lost that playoff game last year and didn't make the run that they could have, or at least it was a big contributing factor. I'm saying this Rams' run defense will be the reason the Rams make a deep playoff run in 2026.
Ooh, the reason. That's some strong language.
So just to be clear here, I'm not saying it'll be more talked about the Rams have a really good run defense than they do in offense. I'm just talking about you think about the Rams defense in the playoffs, big games, they're going up against good running backs. I mean, you got so many good running backs in the playoffs. They're going to be shutting down those running backs to be able to set up their pass rush.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a completely different story than it was last year.
I don't think that's no Rams action. I think that especially like Nate Landman and Poona Ford they've been game changers for the Rams this year. And I know the Rams have been burnt on the outside a bunch of times, including by this Carolina Panthers team.
Yeah.
But I'm confident the Rams have the right mix of coaching and talent on the field that they can overcome that. I really do. Yeah.
You know, from a media standpoint, the big media was talking about this Rams run defense. Like, if they just had a good run defense, they probably would have won this year. I will say, like, the last couple of weeks make me a little bit nervous about stopping the run, especially like if you have to play a San Francisco, if we win this game, if we have to play San Francisco where they run the ball, even though they're not doing it as effectively, like I definitely am a little bit more nervous about this run defense, but not to the level of like last year where it's like it felt like any run could go for a big one. Yeah. But Paul says we can't get Saquon again.
No. Yeah.
This next one and this final one, I saved it for last for a reason. I was actually kind of proud of this one. I don't know why, but I just randomly thought about it with all the Raheem Morris stuff, the conspiracies about, he's like Shula's going to leave, Raheem Morris is going to come back as the Rams defensive coordinator. Right now he is getting head coach interviews, so that is fair. I'm saying it's more likely that Raheem Morris will return to the Rams than it is for the Rams to use both of their first round picks this year.
Ooh. I don't know, because like he's getting some job interviews. Because I gotta talk because we know John Harbaugh is the like big ticket coach name. Kevin Stefanski is getting a lot of hype. Where is Raheem in that like interest?
Let's just say this. Let's just say for whatever reason he goes through the whole coaching cycle, he doesn't get hired. Raheem Morris is available for the Rams to bring in as DC. Is it more likely that the Rams bring him in as DC, or more likely that the Rams use those 2 first-round picks? And what I mean by use by them is they don't trade them away, they don't trade back, they just use them.
I actually don't think that's an over Rams action.
Really?
I think from the moment we've had 2 first-round picks next year, in my mind, I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if we trade both of them, let alone like one of them, right? Like,
such a Rams thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like if a veteran player becomes available of some note, and the Rams are like, hey, you know what? This first round of the draft, we're okay missing out on it. Like I could totally see that being very, very likely. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just had to throw it in there with all the storylines of this. Ram Showcase said, solid. I say we use these picks at least more likely. The chat just scrolled all the way up here. At least more likely than Raheem coming over. I truly think he goes to Arizona. So that's definitely an interesting take. I would say even if Raheem doesn't get hired by anybody, even though he's getting a lot of looks, I would say, like, I don't know. I can't see the Rams using both of these picks. I just don't see them sticking there using both the picks. If we had 1 first-round pick, I would almost feel like we'd trade back. Like, that's just what the Rams do, or trade it away for a proven commodity. One of those things. It feels so unlike the Rams to me to be like, we got 2 first-round picks. Let's just use it the conventional way. Let's just use both those picks in the spot we were given, and let's just go. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch, but Raheem Morris is certainly getting a lot of different looks, and it's going to be interesting to see who brings him in